It's Waiver Wire, Week 13, presented by ErvinandM.com. We have 12 fantasy editions to break down before waiver claims process on Wednesday. With notable injuries from Jatavian Sanders, David Montgomery, Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, Josh Downs, Romeo Doubs, Khalif Raymond, and Kyler Murray. Go position by position, from most viable to pure desperation, from tight ends, running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, and DST. Don't skip, unless you're a hopeless, uncultured swine. And we're going to start it off with tight ends. And Noah Gray. Look, I don't know if he's really taken over or not, but he plays Las Vegas this week, and they allow the second most points to tight ends this year. So the matchup's great. He's consistently earning targets and producing the most with those opportunities. He certainly qualifies as viable, and especially as we enter the end game this season, gobble up all the upside you can, just as if it was your mama's turkey. Look at running backs. Jeremy Nichols. Robinson and Eckler are both hurt. Eckler almost certainly won't play next week, and if Eckler can be viable in deep leagues, then McNichols can do his part if you need a spot start. He gets the Titans this week, which is not ideal, to say the least, but your other options are handcuffs with zero viability without an injury. Amir Abdullah. It's the exact same story for Abdullah. Madison and White are injured. We don't know if they'll play, and his performance with them missing was plenty respectable. His matchups aren't ideal either, but he could see an even more expanded role considering Minshew is gonzo. Wide receivers is next. MVS. Marquez Valdez Scoutling is the new Rashid Shaheed. He's the de facto deep threat for Derek Carr, and they've had respectable success. They get the Rams and Giants. The next 2 weeks, who give up big air yards to opposing wideouts, there's certainly a path here to support the role and the game script. You could do worse for a spot start or stash at the least. Adam Thielen. Look, Bryce Young is playing his best football. Panthers are getting it together, and Thielen's return showed a lot of promise. They get Tampa Bay this week to allow the 30th most yards to opposing wideouts. I mean, that's another favorable matchup that supports the scheme. Grab him. Devontae Booker. The Broncos have really started to dial up the offense. Sutton and Nichols are putting in work, and this rookie has stepped up over the past few weeks as well, and by all accounts is their wide receiver too. They get the Browns this week, and Vegas has the Broncos comfortably defeating them. Don't be scared. Nick Westbrook Ikine. Don't roll your eyes. Maybe you don't start him this week, but next week when you get the Bye Apocalypse Part 2, I mean, you might find yourself looking at Nick on somebody else's team, wishing you stashed him. He scored a touchdown in 6 of his last 7 games, boys. I mean, how sustainable is that? I mean, if you're down bad, you're not really in a position to weigh regression as if it's week 5, all right? Chase the upside. Quarterbacks is next. Cooper freaking Rush. Jesus. In real life, Rush is stinky. Nobody has a Rush jersey except his own family. But for fantasy, he's getting it done. Sometimes you just need some viable points, and his matchups all the way through playoffs are weak. Bottom pass defenses. I mean, don't be surprised if he keeps this up until they face Philly in Week 17. Drake May. In real life, he's been very impressive. In fantasy, I mean, he's been decent. He has a safer floor than, say, like Jameis Winston. And what's more, he gets the Colts this week. They allow the 10th most fantasy points to quarterbacks. I mean, there's another viable path here, at least for Week 13. Let's do the defense. Dallas Cowboys. Look, they get the Giants, okay? It's not delusional to imagine the Cowboys just putting in absolute work against DeVito as the Buccaneers did. Their total defense is worse than the Cowboys, the Buccaneers. So they should be more than viable in their Thanksgiving matchup this week to decimate the Giants. LA Chargers. I mean, the Chargers, on the other hand, have been top 10 all season and top 5 in terms of fantasy points per game. They get the stinky Falcons, who haven't done much on offense in the last 2 games. And to boot, they fell victim to interceptions and sacks. So at least for this week, solid stream. LA Rams. Again, it's the matchup, not the season performance. The Saints have been struggling, and the Rams, to their credit, have been forcing a lot of turnovers over the past 6 weeks. Taysom Hill and Kamara can reduce the efficacy of what the Rams D are good at. But that's why they're the third option if you're streaming to playoffs, so don't be scared. These 12 players are the most viable options based off Week 12 production, availability, and outlook. Subscribe, turn on post notifications so you stay prepared for Sunday. Visit my store, buy something, like this hat, like this tie clip, and watch some more videos.